Welcome back, Piggies, to another episode of the Pigskin Pals podcast with your hosts, Dayne and AJ. Today, we just got the Week 16 matchup preview episode going over all of this week's NFL matchups, as well as talking about some players we like or maybe don't like. Without further ado, let's get stuck right into it.
Okay, first game off the bat Thursday night. We're recording this on Thursday. We have Denver going to the Chargers. I think this is a really fun game that we're going to be able to watch tonight. But the Chargers are favored by 2.5 points, a low over-under of 41.5 points. And then you can see the points per game for the wide receivers and the running backs on the far right of the screen. These are the last 4 weeks. So we're taking some recency into it and looking like both teams are very weak against fantasy wide receivers, and then Chargers are pretty weak against fantasy running backs. Luckily for the Chargers, though, Denver
There's not a running back that they got to care
good,
about.
But you ended up choosing Denver.
For sure.
I went with the Chargers. So let's kind of talk about what we think this game is going to be looking like. You can go first.
Honestly, I am very not confident in these Chargers anymore. They looked really good to start the year, but after J.K. went down, after the running game kind of stalled out, they just haven't looked very good at all. They've just been losing and losing and losing. So I think they may have been playing a little bit out of their league to start the year. And Denver, on the other hand, I think Denver's actually pretty good. Like, their running game, yeah, maybe it's not very good, whatever, but Bo Nix is great. Their defense is great. I think this is going to be one of those. It's probably going to be a little bit of a grind because it's a divisional game and it's an important divisional game and it's a Thursday. But I think it's probably going to be something like 23-17 type deal. Denver wins. I think it's going to be an air raid from them. I don't think the running game really gets going.
So a little bit of a lower scoring game, you thinking? Yeah. I went with the Chargers because, I mean, the same thing for what you said for Chargers, that they're kind of playing out of their league. I think that kind of goes for Denver too. Their defense was really good in the beginning of the year. Bo Nix was kind of on fire in the middle of the season. He's kind of fallen off with recent games of 2 interceptions. He had the bye to kind of combat that, and then he threw 3 interceptions. He isn't playing at a crazy level of what he was earlier in the year when he was really impressing me. I'm taking that into consideration, and I do unfortunately think it is going to be a lower scoring game too. I don't know if I guess we would have to take the under then with that point projection, but I'm really hopeful that the Chargers do be scoring a lot of points because I have Ladidi McConkey in my lineup and hoping that he's going to be popping up. I think if Chargers are going to win this game, it's going to have to be Herbert that carries them. I mean, same with Denver too. So it's quarterback versus quarterback, and I'm going to choose Herbert over Bo Nix.
That's fair. I just feel this is one of those games where we're going. So, like, the past couple Thursdays, I feel like we've been going into, like, oh, this could be, like, a really nice, like, high-scoring game. This one I'm really down on, where not down necessarily, but, like, it's a tough divisional matchup. This could be, like, a 2017, 23-17 type game. And I would not be surprised if this just becomes, like, a throw-off between Bo Nix and Justin Herbert. Like, I could totally see that happening. I think the run game is going to be non-existent in this game. It would be my guess.
I think both quarterbacks could be the leading rushers.
Yeah, 100%. Very well. 100%. And recently, Chargers have been pretty bad against the pass, especially the deep ball. So I think Cortland Sutton could be nice for sure this week. Houston and Kansas City. I mean, this looks like on paper a good game. You have Houston. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, this was just a surprise pick. Earlier in the week, I was kind of thinking, oh, this might be an upset. Patrick Mahomes isn't probably going to be playing with his ankle sprains, but looks like he's going to be playing. So now I'm just kind of sticking with my gut of maybe Houston's going to kind of surprise them. I know they don't really have much to fight for. I don't think they can change their seat at all anymore. So that's kind of unfortunate, and maybe they'll be resting Mixon with his recent ankle injury and everything. But I think this is a game that they kind of have to like get back on track and prove themselves that they belong in the league. So it's just a gut feeling right now.
I'm a guy that goes with gut feelings.
Yeah,
my gut feeling is that this is in Kansas City. Mahomes will be playing. It's going to be a grind of a game. Kansas City, I don't see a way they lose this game, just based off how teams have been playing.
No, it's super tough to picture Kansas City losing any game, really. Yeah. But fantasy-wise, another low over-under. This is going to be a trend throughout the whole week. It's something we briefly talked about before we started recording too, but I don't think there's a single game that goes over 50 points for the over-unders. I'm sure one game will end up going over that, but they're all around like this 41, 46 total, which is unfortunate for fantasy playoffs. Like, I want some exciting games, so you're gonna have to find some sneaky games, and not sure if this will be the one because Kansas City's been so good on defense and CJ Stroud has been I'm hopeful that maybe he's going to show out. It's looking like you're just you want to avoid the running backs. I don't know how injured Joe Mixon is, but if you have him on your team, you're going to be playing him. I'm not excited about it. You probably didn't make it to the playoffs if you have Pacheco, so I'm not going to be playing him. And then it's the wide receivers just like Nico and...
Nico. I just play Nico and Kelsey. Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Those are the only two that I play that way. Otherwise, I don't want any of it. In theory, which should be a good game with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Steelers coming off a tough loss last week to the Eagles and are again going to be without George Pickens.
And you're finally choosing against Pittsburgh, finally.
I am. It's in Baltimore. Lamar's never played against Pittsburgh in Baltimore with fans. That's a fun stat. And I think coming off that tough loss, no George Pickens, it's going to be hard to bounce back against Baltimore.
Yeah, I see the Steelers offense playing a very similar game to last week against the Eagles. Like, they look like very similar defenses. I mean, fantasy allowance-wise of Baltimore and the Eagles. So if they don't have Pickens out there, I think their whole offense is just kind of going to sputter, and they're not going to get much stuff going on the ground game. Like, it looks like they gave up last week because Najee and Warren had only, like, I don't even think they saw double-digit carries, but I think if they want to win this game, they're going to have to get the ball first, dominate the line of scrimmage, and run the ball from the get-go, 100%. And kind of just establish that dominance. And Pittsburgh has their injuries for themselves too. With TJ Watt, I don't know if he's playing or not, but he's going to be hampered at least if he's out there. So I see this going all Baltimore's way. I'm going to play all my Baltimore players, and I really don't want to touch anyone on Pittsburgh, especially in trusting them in fantasy.
Maybe Pat. Pat's been pretty good the past couple of weeks. He's like kind of probably their main target on offense, at least in the passing game, and they're going to have to throw. So if I'm playing anyone, it's only Pat Freiermuth, and it's probably because it's a tight end position, so it's a toss-up anyway. Otherwise, no one for Pittsburgh.
And then we got Cleveland going to Cincinnati.
Speaking of people I don't want, or teams I don't want on, players I don't want on teams, I don't want a single person on the Cleveland Browns receiving game. Maybe I'll take Jerome Ford because of Nick Chubb being out and guaranteed work there, but with DTR starting at quarterback, I don't want any part of Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised the over-under is at 46.5 for this game with DTR playing.
I think it's because Joe Burrow is playing football, and they tend to score a lot of points. They tend to score a lot of points, yeah.
But I am fully on the same side as you. I have Njoku and Judy who have been carrying me pretty hard, but I'm not trusting DTR in the playoffs. I'm benching them.
Good.
Unless more injuries come up and I just have to put them in my lineup. But yeah, it's just not something I want to really bank on. And I'm going to feel so crummy about it if I put them in my lineup and I just knew, DTR is going to throw for 100 yards and a couple picks, and this offense is going to look like shit. That's fully what I'm expecting. And
on the other side, it's
Ford
like
does look good though.
Yeah, I think Ford is like the only playable person on Cleveland, and then you can play everyone in Cincinnati, is my thought process. You can play all the receivers that you have, running back, and Joe without
But then again,
question.
I think you have to also limit your expectations for Ford because, yes, it is the best matchup. How much are they actually going to be able to get on the ground? Because they're going to be down by so much that I could honestly see them having to throw Jameis in, going to screw people, and then
they won't do that.
You don't think if they're down by like 20 or something and DTR's fumbling, throwing picks, they're like, okay, whatever. This game's lost already. Let's just put Jameis in. Our whole team loves Jameis. Let's just put Jameis in.
Maybe, but I can see Cleveland having to take the same route as Steelers. Like, I think they want to win the toss, they want to get the ball, and then they want to run it with Jerome Ford right away and get that lead. That's what I think needs to happen, kind of similarly to the Steelers. Arizona, Carolina. Carolina took a little bit of a step back last week after we were talking them up.
I'm never picking them again. They're probably never being favorites again also.
I genuinely was so confused how Carolina was favorites to beat the Cowboys. It didn't make any sense to me. The Cowboys have been playing perfectly good. I'm like, this is just spite because no one likes the Cowboys. They're like, let's favor the Panthers. As much as I want to have faith in Carolina, I just don't. The only thing I think they have going for them is that apparently the weather's supposed to be a little bit chilly, and that may be a good thing for them, but I could also see that meaning James Conner has a really good day, and he just pounds the ball on the ground.
Yeah, he's the player that's standing out to me the most in this matchup. Honestly, kind of Kyler also, just in case it doesn't go Connor's way. We know what Kyler can do on the ground with his legs. My question for you is, if you made it this far with Marvin Harrison, are you playing him? Like, it looks like a good matchup, but he has been stinking.
I mean, you have to. I mean, I guess it really all depends on what kind of lineup you got going, who you have to play over him. But like,
would you play Judy or Marv?
No, Marv 100% of the time. I'm not touching Cleveland. That's no
way.
Okay,
I'll think of. What about Jaden Reed or Marv?
Who do they play? They play
New Orleans.
I'd probably play Jaden Reed. Mooney. Oh God, with Penix? No, I'm playing Marv.
Adam Thielen on the other side.
Adam Thielen, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely
tough.
just
it's
messy.
Like you have to think about it. Yeah, you have to think about it. It's all matchup based. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I think just a little bit of growing pains. I'm sure Marv in general, in like a dynasty standpoint, will still be perfectly good. But
it looks like a decent game too for Chuba. Hopefully, he has a bounce back after his poor performance last week. I think people are really starting to have slept on Dallas's defense, and that's something
100%.
that you've brought up too.
Yeah.
But they're definitely playing some of their best ball in the season, and I don't think everything's caught up to that. And hopefully, this is going to be more of like a bounce back where you can kind of win some people.
I really think
championships.
I think Chuba has a good week because as much as I think Carolina will lose, will be an interesting game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything like that. And I think if it being cold, it could be a lot of running, so that is a good sign for Chuba.
Next game we got Philadelphia and Washington. Definitely a lot of fantasy players in this game. We both chose Philly. Philly's favored. They're playing away and that middling over-under again at 45.5, and that's because these defenses are both really good.
Yeah.
We see both top 3 defenses against the running backs and top 12 defenses against the wide receivers. And I have Jaden Daniels in a spot, and I'm like, what do I do with this man?
You got to play Jaden Daniels because of his floor on the ground and his ceiling being what his ceiling is. I'm more worried about guys like Terry McLaurin and stuff like that. Like, the number 1 receiver has been getting locked up by Philly these past couple weeks, so I'm a little bit nervous about playing Terry.
But yeah, I have no idea. Like, we should come back to this after we go through all the matchups, because this is one of the more exciting games where it's
100%.
like, both these offenses can do stuff, and this could become more of a shootout compared to the other options that you have. So
I unfortunately think that Philadelphia is like the best team in football right now, and I think that they'll probably just blow them out like they blew out Pittsburgh. That's what I think.
Big Commanders fan. Didn't know that. Or, I mean, big Philly fan.
I said unfortunately to start it because I hate the Eagles, but I can't deny that they're probably the best team in football right now. For us, the fantasy things, I don't really want many Commanders. I'm very okay with playing Jaden Daniels. Minus that, I don't really need to play anyone else. You're going to play Saquon, you're going to play Jalen Hurts, you're going to play AJ Brown, you're going to play Devontae Smith. They got just like too many weapons not to play.
You're going to have to play Terry also. I'm not recommending not to play him, but like,
it's not going to feel, you're not going to feel good going into it. Yeah, it's a scary Terry play this week.
Exactly. Scary Terry play. And the running backs, though, actually, I feel like one player I would definitely not play is like Brian.
Oh,
Robinson.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not a chance. That's going to be a really rough game. If you have to play Brian Robinson, you're hoping for a touchdown, I think.
You know he's going to go for 300 yards.
Of course. Now this is a good football game right here.
I'm
excited for this game. Yeah, because not only it's like 2 not great teams, so that normally means like high scoring for the most part, but also Michael Penix making his regular season starting debut, which is exciting. I'm curious to see what he looks like. How do you feel it's going to turn out for the Falcons? What do you think it's going to make the game script look like?
I mean, not even considering the spread, which is one of the biggest one that we've seen so far. Going into it, I thought that Atlanta is going to dominate this game. I also think Penix is going to be a big upgrade from Kirk. Like, watching that Monday night game where their announcers were just like, I don't know, like, do they finally trust Kirk to throw the ball now on this 3rd down? It's like 3rd and 4. Should he throw the ball? We're like, yeah, I think he should throw the ball, but I think they're definitely still going to heavily, maybe even more, rely on Bijan this week.
Absolutely.
Because it is a rookie quarterback. Maybe I don't really know their play styles between Algier and Bijan. I could maybe see a lot of Algier also if he's really good at pass protection, of just helping his rookie quarterback out. I think Penix gets his first win, and it's going to be pretty easy for him also, just with how bad the Giants are.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Atlanta wins this game, and I think I 100% agree that it's going to be a big Bijan day. They're not going to put the rookie out there with a guy like Bijan Robinson and just throw 40 times. It's not going to happen. They're going to rely on the run. They're going to have screen passes. He's going to dump it off a lot, I think. I think they're going to play it safe because they can with a guy like Bijan in the backfield. And I also think this is like the best situation a rookie quarterback could be coming into. Like, so many weapons, really reliable running back. It's a good spot for him to come in, and he didn't get thrown out there right away. Like, he's had time to progress too.
I think the only pressure he has is this is a must-win game if they kind of want to get to the playoffs. So
that's why I also think they won't put the game on him a lot. It's going to be a lot of Bijan.
Yeah,
I like Bijan this week.
On the other side too, this looks like a really good game for Malik Neighbors, and then I feel like Tracy really hasn't done much.
Yeah, but I think you got to play him. He had a little bit of a rough week last week, but I mean, he's not like a must-start fit in your lineup, but he's a nice second flex.
I would play forward over Tracy.
I don't hate that. And Singletary, I feel like he's been getting involved a little bit more again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's because of fumbling stuff that's been going on, but who knows?
Another difference.
This is kind of a gross game, I think.
This was one of the most difficult ones to choose.
Yeah. I could very easily see either team winning this. However, I think Indianapolis does. I think the Mason Rudolph quarterback change, which I think is confirmed at this point, doesn't really do anything. I think both Levis and Rudolph suck balls at this point. They're both not good. They're going to have to run the ball a lot, and while Indianapolis seemingly has not been good at stopping that, I don't think that'll be enough against Colts, who are a little bit better on offense.
That's actually really interesting because I had the other take of switching to Mason Rudolph. Pretty big upgrade for the Titans just because they lost so many games because of Will Levis throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball or taking sacks.
Reese, that was a lot making like first 4 games he had 4 meme-worthy pictures and 4 meme-worthy plays. That was just like his whole shtick. These past couple games where they haven't won or he hasn't won them the game, he hasn't done anything to necessarily lose them the game.
What about last week when he got benched because of his poor play?
He just sucks. It's not that he was turning the ball over and ruining the game. He's just not good.
But after he got benched, Mason came in and he went for, out of 26 attempts, he completed 21. I don't think he looked like he took a lot of the checkdowns, which I think are kind of needed for this team.
Yeah. Yep.
Their identity is still to run the ball, but they just needed someone to kind of convert those short games or just not throw interceptions.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have Anthony Richardson, who's also just equally turnover prone as Will Levis. So the safer team in my mind that just hasn't been making as many mistakes. Regardless, I'm not excited for anyone minus like the running backs in this game.
Yeah, Detroit at Chicago. I don't really think that's much of a surprise. But one thing I want to talk about quick with Demont going out, is Jahmyr Gibbs just like the guy you want? Like if you have him going forward here, he's going to be the number 1 running back.
I think so. I mean, he's not going to be 100%. I think they're still going to use like Craig Reynolds. They're going to be switching, maybe even throwing some St. Brown back there. It's going to be maybe like 70%, 75, 80%, 70 to 80% of the snaps in the backfield. So I would be really happy if I had him, and especially going into this game too, where Chicago is 29th against the running backs that they're facing. So you're going to be feeling really good about that. One of the higher over-unders too. I see this game going as basically a classic Detroit game and a classic Chicago game where Detroit's going to get up by a lot of points. Yeah. The other team is going to come back and score a bunch of points in the garbage time era, which is what Chicago's done all year, just a fourth quarter drive with Caleb and Keenan Allen, and they're scoring some garbage time points. That's how I see this going, and
I agree.
Yeah, you're going to be playing everyone on Detroit.
Yep.
And then Caleb isn't the worst stream,
no.
I don't think, this week.
It's the same situation. They're probably going to get down. They're going to have to throw a lot, garbage time points. Like, it'll start off rough and you go, oh, why did I play Caleb? But then second half, you'll be like, okay, nice. Like, got 18, 20 points from him.
Now that Eberflus is gone, maybe they'll correctly call their timeout this week and win the game.
Doubt it. But who knows?
Okay, now we got the Rams and the Jets. This is one matchup where I don't immediately look at it and go, gross.
Yeah.
I think this could be a fun game. We have a 3-point spread, 46.5 over under, not the highest, but I think this is one that's definitely going to be going over. And then you have some nice matchups for the running backs for the Jets, of the Rams allowing the 27th most points, and then you have some nice matchups for the wide receivers of the LA Rams with going against allowing 40.4 points to the wide receivers that they're seeing. So I think great games for Puka and Kupp, which
100%.
I mean, Puka is definitely the number 1 on that offense too. I would much rather have him than Kupp.
Absolutely.
And then Aaron Rodgers has been playing really good. Oh my God, the sweats I was in last week going against Devontae Adams and Amon-Ra St. Brown in Dynasty. I have no idea how I survived, but I was definitely sweating, and every single ball to Devontae, I was like, how did they do that? Like, their connection was completely back. I don't know if it was just the Jags defense. I'm expecting maybe to transfer a little bit into this week too.
Yeah, I agree with like the Puka stance, Puka, Cooper Kupp, all that. I don't know what it is. I'm a little bit worried about Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams coming off their bigger games or a couple of good games in a row against a little bit better team in the Rams. I think maybe they could have a little bit of a letdown after the big weeks. I think could be Brees maybe has a bounce back.
That could be nice. Yeah, he squeezed in for that touchdown surprisingly at the end.
Yeah.
And looks like he's fully healthy this week too, so it's time to fire Brees Hall back up and
100%.
Show us why he was a top 5 pick this year.
Absolutely. Minnesota at Seattle. I mean, Green Bay just destroyed Seattle. I think Minnesota is just as good as Green Bay. I could see the game going pretty similarly. You're going to play.
Let's just say, thank God Geno's playing this week.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Holy moly.
Because Howell if Howell was starting, I wouldn't play a single Seattle player, I don't think. He was just getting sacked left and right, and the Packers aren't even a team that really get a lot of pressures and sacks, so that was fun to watch.
Well,
I was like, damn.
That was Howell's whole thing, wasn't it? When he was starting at Washington, he was just getting sacked and sacked and sacked.
Yeah. So it's nice that Geno's playing because JSN's back to being viable against one of the weaker or weakest passing defenses. That's really nice. It's just a question of what do you do with DK, because he's been bad. I think if you have him in the playoffs somehow, I'm going to be benching him because I just have no trust.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad bench. He's been bad. I mean, JSN is all of a sudden the guy there, it seems like. If I can get away from DK, I'm getting away from DK this week.
And then on the Minnesota side, looks like a great matchup for Aaron Jones. And obviously you're going to be playing Jefferson, probably playing Addison too. Like, I think this could be a good game, especially if Geno stays healthy. We've seen Seattle be able to keep pace with teams, so this could turn into a nice shootout. So, I don't know, maybe actually do take a shot on DK. It is the playoffs. You got to rely on your guys, and it would be gross, but now that we're fading him, he's might go off.
Pop off. Yeah, for sure. New England and Buffalo. Huge
one of these
spread.
Crazy spreads.
Yeah, huge spread. I'm always so surprised to see the points per game for receivers and running backs against Buffalo.
I don't know if that was just because of the past couple of weeks when they were in shootouts. But
probably. But I mean,
they weren't playing very well. As I was saying, I was sweating against St. Brown, and when he caught that 70-yard touchdown, I was like screaming at the TV because it looked like every single Buffalo defender gave up as soon as he caught it, and they were just jogging. Like 3 people had angles on him that could have tackled him before he went into the end zone, and they were just lollygagging out there. I'm like, fucker. I mean, I'm happy I won. I won.
You got there. You got lucky. Are you playing anyone from New England? Ramondre seems okay, but I'm not happy about playing him.
No, then again, I don't want to play him because it's going to be the same thing as that earlier matchup where they're just going to be down so far. What are they going to be? Like, they're just not going to get many opportunities because they're going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I play a single person in New England, and then you sit Amari Cooper, that's for damn sure. And then you play Josh Allen, James Cook, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, all those guys.
I mean, if you really want to go into the fantasy lore, this is a boom week for Cooper because he's always...
That's true.
Whenever you want to sit Cooper, man, he goes off for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and drops a 50 bomb. So keep an eye out for that.
Maybe actually play him.
Don't trust him.
Maybe
don't trust
play
him. Playing with your eyes closed, if anything. This game is also disgusting. Had no idea who I really wanted to choose.
Not a clue. Because
both teams are just looking abysmal.
Yeah.
I just went with the healthier team.
And I think a team with a little bit more explosive ability. Maybe break open the game a little bit. It's a gross game. It's a toss-up. I think San Francisco's just in the dumps. Honestly, they got nothing going.
I don't know what they're... One of the games I was watching, I think it was the Monday night game, the Bears and the Vikings. One of the announcers was like, what do you do? They were talking about head coaching. They're like, you just go out and make a trade? Do you just trade for Kyle Shanahan? That would be kind of disgusting if the Bears did that. I would hate that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're in a tough spot. They're going to have to figure it out in the offseason, but I believe in them if they just get healthy.
Yeah, in this game, I think just play studs. Play Devon, play Tyreek. I don't need to play anyone from San Francisco, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, no studs on San Fran. Debo, no longer a stud. I'm not playing him in redraft. I'm playing McMillan over him.
Great pick. Also, as soon as I started talking smack about McMillan being a trash pick in the sleepers, he became like the best player of all time. I stopped picking him in DFS. I stopped talking about him. Now he's just a beast.
Okay, don't hype him up too much because I still need him this week.
He actually is so bad. I don't know what. I'm moving off this game. Ooh, a little bit of Jacksonville and Vegas.
Just the same spread as the last game. Oddly enough, I'm way more excited for this game, I think. We have Aiden O'Connell coming back, so we have some viability of Bowers and Myers. A single running back. I know there's like one guy that kind of goes off each week or gets like 8-10 points for Vegas, but that's not going to win you the week to get to the championship, so I'm not going to be banking on that. And then Jacksonville on the other side.
I'm okay with touching the running backs this week. I think the matchup's good enough and Mac Jones, like the offense hasn't been all that bad. Like Mac Jones has been very serviceable as a backup. With this matchup, I'm good with playing a lot of my Jacksonville players.
I agree with that. I think in one of our league matchups, someone had Tank Bixby, and I was like, it's like, I don't know.
I don't hate it. Hate it. Yeah. So I think play most of Jacksonville. Like Brian Thomas has been so good.
I'm not going to play Parker Washington this week, though.
No.
Or one of the tight ends. I'm not going to be playing them.
No.
I think it's just BTJ and maybe the running backs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, baby, here we go. Dallas and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got Dallas.
Prime time.
Dallas has looked good, man. You can't tell me they haven't. They should have won that game against the Bengals. They've been a good team as of late. By good, maybe good's a stretch. They've been a serviceable team. So I think this could actually be a fun Sunday night game.
I think the highest over-under also. So
it's probably up there, yeah.
It is. 48.5, nothing else. There might have been one other at 48.5. This is the game where you want some players in. Buccaneers have players on their side. Dallas has players on their side. It looks like a really tough matchup for the running backs, so that's a little scary. But if this game is that good, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of offense in this game, and I think this matchup looks scary for Rico and for Bucky and for Rashad, but I think you got to play those guys. Like Rico at this point, 3 straight games over 100 yards. Bucky and Rashad, we don't know which one's going to be. Could be both, but they've both been great. I think you're just playing like you're playing guys in this game. I think it's an offensive game. You're playing everyone.
And if the offenses are moving, like eventually someone's going to be on the 5-yard line, 1-yard line. They're going to be running the ball into the end zone, hopefully scoring some points for my Bucky Irving this week. Yeah, I like a lot of the players in there. I like Baker a lot. I'm not going to play with Cooper Rush, though.
No.
And then the tight ends, that's also really messy with Otten and Ferguson, who have flashed, but it's like
I think they're
just
fine plays, but it's not like you gotta try and force them in.
And then
last game of the week,
prime time for our game, or for our teams. Green Bay, one of the other crazy spreads. I think if I was a betting man, I would be taking New Orleans to cover the spread, because I don't ever remember a Packers team having this and blowing a team out. I feel like it's always a close contention that we're in. I think, unfortunately,
it could happen with Alvin Kamara not likely playing this week. Maybe it's a little bit more likely.
Yeah, but then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to run for 300 yards.
Did he sign with them?
I think so.
Holy, I did not see that.
So we have CH and Kendre Miller, who Kendre's looked really good also, and we have been allowing points to the running back. So I could see if New Orleans is going to be doing anything, it's going to have to kind of run through him. It's not going to be running through Spencer Rattler and MVS Revenge Game.
Oh, shit.
Long-time revenge.
Lock him in your lineups. Lock him in.
This is his 4th team since he's faced.
Always a revenge.
Actually, I think he faced us when he was on Kansas City, but I want to play everyone on Green Bay.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. So I agree,
and I want to play the Green Bay defense.
I don't hate necessarily playing Kendre Miller because he's probably gonna get a shit ton of touches. I don't think it's gonna be a sexy play. I think he's gonna have points based off of.
I can't even think of someone else that I would want to play.
No one, not.
If I was playing in a huge tournament, I needed one guy to go off, and MVS was cheap enough, maybe I would choose him. But it is outdoors in the cold. MVS is gonna be dropping 1 to 2 balls.
That's true.
He's gonna need to catch.
That is true. Very true.
Well, thank you for watching. This was our Week 16 preview. Hopefully this is going to help you make some sits in the playoffs. And comment down below if you make it to the championship. But we'll see you all in our next episode where we come out with our DFS lineups and our picks for our leagues. Adios, muchachos.
Peace.